One of the most important things that I think everyone should learn is how to use their SS properly, specifically the backward SS. You see a lot of good players do this. The idea is that when you SS backward into the boss instead of away from the boss, it puts you closer to the boss, so it increases your DPS uptime by not having to additionally reposition after. Likewise, you can use your SS to simultaneously carry a bomb away from the party and iframe it, therefore minimizing your downtime. If you're failing the Bailey dungeon right now, it is very likely that you're not maximizing your DPS properly by doing DPS uptime or your rotation properly, and so therefore in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys a tons of tips that will help you increase your damage significantly. Real quick before we start, I just want to let you guys know that I stream this game regularly on Twitch as well as to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. The best way to gain DPS in this game is none other than playing better. Understanding your class as well as playing well can usually mean you do 2 to 3 times more damage than someone who don't know how to play the class. Definitely come to the motion tower dummy here to practice your rotation. Things that you're generally looking out for are like, are you utilizing all your skills properly? Not properly managing their focus is one of the biggest mistakes I see most new beginner player make right now. What I mean by that is like when you're attacked, usually it costs you focus. And a lot of people would be like generate 2 to 3 focus and they immediately go to start attacking again. But the problem with this is that you only get to attack for a little bit of time at a time, and that's not good. Usually you want to attack in a really big sequence, so you want to have full focus before you start doing your DPS combo. Because if you're having any kind of buff, then it allows you to maximize your buff for the entire time. But the other thing with Blade and Soul is that a lot of skills have focus generation, especially on critical rate. For Blade Dancers, if my flickers crit, which is this one, there's no crit here, it turned into Blade Echo, and this attack doesn't cost you focus, and I can still proc the Lightning Flash. So the idea is that I want to start with max focus to give me more chances to hit my flickers, and I'm looking for a crit so that every time I crit, I don't use focus. Blade Echo that doesn't consume focus, so that I can stay in my draw sense way longer and continue DPSing whenever. So this is really important. Cycling your focus generation skill is going to be another really big one. A lot of class have skills that generate you focus. You can tell because it's a focus recovery at the top right instead of focus cost. And so the way you want to use these skills is, of course, you want to start by using focus first before you use them. And most importantly, cycle through all your skills that recover your focus so that you can continue doing DPS longer. One of the biggest example is my opener. On Blade Dancers, my lightning draws cost me 2 focus, but this is a skill that had the biggest, so I should open with this. And once I cast this, I lose 2 focus, and I can immediately cast my Ray to generate my 2 focus back, and I can start attacking for full focus. And it's like minor optimization like this that really make a big difference in the long term, because everything adds up. So here my Ray is already back, and I can do it again and stuff like that. And this will be a lot better than the other way around. This is also one of the biggest reasons why critical rate is way more important than anything else, because many class have skills that react on critical rate. Again, I showed you flickers doesn't cost any focus when you crit, so having higher crit rate just means you can have better focus management. The same goes with classes like Destroyer, Force Master, and stuff like that. So definitely build attack power if you can, but also definitely build critical rate as well. Prioritizing critical rate on your beginner social is a little more important in my opinion. Later on, so you want to prioritize critical damage because you can fuse critical rate primer. But for now, without primers, which are these things, then I think critical rate could be more important to do for now. Speaking of gear, obviously getting better gear is the easiest way to doing more damage. Personally, in the temporary, I'm just going for whatever gives the highest AP, because I think AP is the easiest way to gain damage. But I'm also looking for stuff with critical rate or critical damage. Not too hard at looking for it because they're really expensive right now. But I'm just gonna use these like high AP gear, even with no stat, just temporarily to get a little bit more AP. You can actually attack while you're moving. You can actually attack enemies that are in the air while you're moving as well. And this is really important to do because you can keep avoiding damage while you're still attacking. You can move out of like cone attack and stuff like that while you're still attacking. And so this is really big. It really helps to stay directly on top of the boss so that it's easier to rotate around him to move out of the attack. You should only be using your iframe and saving your iframe for big circle attack that you cannot avoid. Fun fact, you can actually iframe enemy that are mid-air. Iframe that require your target like strafe even when the enemy is doing like an airborne attack, just because you can target them anyway. You should always try to push for more damage more aggressively by using your iframe to avoid damage at last second, rather than trying to avoid all of them together by moving away from it. Another thing that will really help your group do more damage is to grab or pin the boss after a CC. A lot of class have grab ability. Blade Dancers especially have their Phantom Grab, which is really good. The Phantom Grab, when you're doing it, it unlocks one of your ultimate move, which is Blade Storm, so you should always be grabbing the boss. But the biggest advantage of grabbing or pinning down a boss is that the boss is just not going to move, not going to attack for the next 6 seconds. Well, it's 6 seconds when you upgrade. And so this just gives your entire team a big free DPS window, and you can use this to extend a CC where they're already not attacking, so you should always be trying to grab the boss. Blade Dancers has the best grab in the game, so if you're playing Blade Dancers, always try to do the grab over anyone else, followed by like Summoner's Cap Pin, because the Summoner can keep DPS things. If you're playing Destroyer or Kung Fu Masters, I would definitely let your other teammate grab first, because they can keep attacking the boss while they're doing the grab. However, if you can't, then doing one of those could be a good option. FPS as well as your ping really impact your DPS, and that's because it directly influences how fast you can do your input, so how fast you can attack. I would highly recommend locking your FPS at 60 just so you can get consistent FPS even in fights. However, for your ping, there's not a lot you can do other than, well, either move to a better country or use a speed boost VPN program. Personally, I tried a lot of different VPN like Ping Sapper or Mudfish, but I found exitlag to be the one that most efficient and the most consistent. It's not an ad, but I do have an exitlag affiliate code in the description below. With that being said, I think there are really helpful external resources. On the official Blade & Soul Discord, a lot of people will talk about your class and what you should be doing. Personally, I don't know how to play Destroyer, for example, but I see that a lot of people have really detailed written up of what you should be doing stuff. So I think give these a read and then figure out how to properly play your class is going to be one of the biggest improvements everyone will see right now. I suggest understanding your class really well and reading through all the tooltips. One of the things, for example, is that Blade Dancers, your SS puts you out to basic stance. So if I'm draw stance and I SS, I'm gonna get put back into basic stance and I can't use my draw stance skills anymore. And this is a really big problem because I need my draw stance skills to DPS. So a better option, if I want to iframe 2 times in a row, is to first SS and then use my Q to put me back into the draw stance. Because if it did the other way around, where I start with my Q and then SS, I'm going to be put back into basic stance. So if I need 2 iframe and a Q, SS, see, now I end up in the wrong stance. And little things like this really matter in the long run because you always want to be in draw stance. And likewise for other classes like Blade Masters and stuff like that, make sure you're making sure that how your class is properly played. Here's a really fun one to do on Blade Masters if you haven't tried it. Since your E doesn't have a cooldown when you're in draw sense, what you could do is enter draw sense, E back, and then you can enter draw sense again to have no cooldown on your E. And this makes it so that you can have a lot of iframe in a row. So something fun to do is to Q, E, SS, E, and then 4, E. And this gives you like so many iframe in a row because you just keep spamming your blindside. And it gives you, I think, like 5 iframe in a row. And of course, you can do it faster. Oh, my finger's on cooldown. But you get the point. Unfortunately, with the way of BNS Neo, getting the right skills is going to be one of the biggest contributing factor to doing damage. So definitely try to start looking for skill books, especially if they're cheap. Stuff like this that give you free more focus could really help to smooth out rotation and stuff like that. And your damage skill in general, I think you can just start looking for blue books. If you're able to find them for cheap, they're really expensive right now, so you can take them slow. But something like this could be cheap. AoE, this one just do like 2000 more damage, and I think this one is quite cheap actually, if I can find one to show you. This one, honestly, AO5 is not too bad. I just don't really want to spend it right now, but I honestly think 805 to get this book is not that bad, considering like it just started to increase damage. But my point is, like, you should start looking for a skill book, even if it's not your biggest skill, to start slowly increasing your damage. I know a lot of these seem small maybe, but I promise you they will add up to a really big difference. Playing well is going to be the biggest contributor to doing more damage in this game, which is one of the reasons why this game is way more fun, just because when you play well, you would know, and you can feel the damage difference. It will literally be 2 times to 3 times, and that is actually something that's measurable. So with that being said, subscribe for more tips in the future, and of course like the video and comment what do you learn from this video. Bye bye.